Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves because what I'm about to tell you is going to rip the internet apart. Imagine spending years mourning one of hip-hop's most notorious street legends, King Von, only to wake up to whispers that he never really left us. Yes, you heard me right. The rumors are not just whispers anymore. They're exploding like dynamite, fueled by none other than people closest to Lil Durk's own family. And the claim? That King Von is alive. Not hidden in some Chicago basement. Not protected in witness custody, but living far away, outside the United States. Now pause. Ask yourself, if this is true, what does it mean? Why would the world be lied to? And why now, after years of silence, is Durk's circle suddenly hinting that Von didn't die that night in Atlanta? Was the murder just one of the biggest staged acts in hip-hop history? Or was this all a carefully executed exit plan designed to get Von out of the chaos for good? Leaked family conversations, shady travel receipts, and suspicious sightings overseas are all starting to paint a picture that feels straight out of a Netflix conspiracy thriller. Fans are demanding answers, critics are rolling their eyes. But one thing is certain, if Von really is alive, this is the biggest scandal hip-hop has ever seen. And here's the kicker, if he's out of the country, who helped him get there? Who's protecting him? And what could possibly force Durk's own blood relatives to spill this secret now? Stay tuned, because the deeper we dig, the darker this story gets. So here's where the entire internet starts scratching its head. For years, the story was carved in stone. King Von, Chicago's most polarizing drill figure, gone in Atlanta after that infamous shootout. Media outlets replayed that grainy surveillance clip a million times. Blogs dissected it frame by frame like it was the Zapruder film. Fans mourned, haters mocked, and Durk's empire doubled down on the narrative of pain, loyalty, and revenge. But suddenly, like an earthquake no one predicted, whispers start bubbling. Von didn't die. Not only that, Durk's own blood relatives are allegedly saying the unthinkable. He's alive and out of the country. Now pause for a second. If this was just some crazy fan theory cooked up in a Reddit basement, nobody would care. But when it's tied to people who are supposed to be close to the family, that's when the internet starts to burn. The first clue came in what looked like a random live stream. A cousin of Durk's, not exactly A-list famous but known enough, in Chicago circles, dropped what seemed like a slip of the tongue. They were ranting about people keeping secrets for the sake of the money, and suddenly mentioned Von in the present tense, like he was still here, still around, still moving. The live stream cut awkwardly. The cousin tried to laugh it off, but by then the damage was done. Fans clipped it, uploaded it everywhere, and boom, conspiracy engines went into overdrive. Was this proof? Was this the crack in the perfect glass story the industry wanted us to believe? Then came the so-called leaked travel receipts. A screenshot floating across X, Twitter, for the normal folks, claimed that a one-way private charter left from a small Georgia airfield the morning after Von's so-called passing. Destination? Not Miami, not LA, somewhere international, with the names redacted but heavily blurred enough for sleuths to start claiming South America, Brazil, maybe Colombia. Places where disappearing is practically a lifestyle option. Could it be fake? Of course, but in the age of fakes, deepfakes, and Photoshop, fake doesn't even matter anymore. What matters is the smoke, because where there's this much smoke, audiences are programmed to assume fire. And let's talk about Durk. He's been the loyal soldier, the grieving brother in arms, the man carrying Von's legacy like it's tattooed in his DNA. But has anyone noticed how defensive he gets when people ask too many questions? How certain topics suddenly cut interviews short? Or how Von's name is used as both shield and sword in the industry, generating sympathy while also creating untouchable status? That's where the sarcasm creeps in, because if Von is alive, then Durk's entire brand of pain and loyalty becomes the greatest marketing scheme hip-hop has ever pulled off. One alleged family member even went as far as saying Von had to get out because the people after him weren't going to. Stop. That's not just gossip, that's suggesting a full-scale underground operation to fake a death, orchestrate an escape, and cover it up so convincingly that millions bought it. Imagine the money, the power, the connections needed to pull something like that off. This isn't just rappers with flashy jewelry. This is bigger, darker, and messier. And fans started drawing parallels to Tupac. The same whispers, the same sightings overseas, the same cult-like belief that the story we were fed was never the real story. Hip-hop never forgets, and conspiracy theories age like fine wine. In this culture, social media detectives pored over recent footage of alleged Von sightings. A blurry clip in London, another in Honduras, even one outside a Dubai nightclub where a guy with the same build, same tattoos, and same walk was quickly escorted into a black SUV. Is it Von? Or is it just another guy capitalizing on the resemblance? That's the problem. Once the seed of doubt is planted, every blurry video becomes evidence, every shadow becomes a clue, and every fan becomes a detective with too much free time. But here's where it gets juicier. Allegedly, Durk's family didn't just hint Von is alive, they hinted he's not allowed to come back. That whatever deal was made, whatever arrangement was struck, Von's safety depends on staying far away from US soil. And doesn't that line up suspiciously with the sudden silence from people who once couldn't stop screaming Von's name for clout? Doesn't it line up with the eerie way his legacy is monetized, but his personal matters are off limits? Almost like keeping the narrative tightly controlled is part of the deal. And the fans? Oh, they're split right down the middle. Half of them are screaming cap, calling it delusional to believe Von could survive not just his enemies, but the entire US justice system's death reports. The other half are glued to the idea that they've uncovered hip-hop's greatest unsolved mystery. Memes, TikToks, long Reddit threads. People are treating this like it's a Netflix documentary unfolding in real time. And every new leak only adds gasoline to the fire. Someone even dropped what they claimed was an audio recording of Von's voice, allegedly recent, allegedly authentic, where he talks about being good where he at. Could it be AI voice cloning? Of course. But in 2025, who even cares about authenticity when the scandal is this juicy? By the time blogs and YouTube channels like this one started amplifying it, the story had already mutated into something bigger than reality itself. And the real question becomes, if Durk's family really did let this secret slip, was it by accident or was it intentional? Was it a warning shot? Was it revenge? Or was it an inside job meant to destabilize Durk's empire? Because make no mistake, if the world believes Von is alive and hiding outside the US, then every lyric, every album, every emotional plea Durk has made since 2020 comes crashing down like a house of cards. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where this rabbit hole really begins. Because once you accept the possibility that Von is alive, you have to ask the scarier question. Who orchestrated it? Who benefited? And who's still protecting him in the shadows? So once you start asking who benefits from this cover-up, the list gets uncomfortably long. Think about it: labels profit from Von's death albums, streaming spikes like fireworks every anniversary, and every long live Von tribute tour sells out arenas. If he's alive and hidden outside the US, then this isn't just family drama, it's one of the most profitable scams in hip-hop history. Imagine billions in streams, merchandise, documentaries, and even courtroom sympathy, all hinging on the narrative that Von was taken from us too soon. If the truth flips, that's lawsuits, broken contracts, and destroyed legacies waiting to explode. One anonymous industry insider allegedly leaked a PDF showing financial transfers days after Von's supposed passing. Massive sums routed through offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands, coincidentally linked to people with ties to Durk's management circle. Coincidence? or money to fund a long-term disappearing act. These documents were never verified, of course, but the fact they surfaced at the exact moment family whispers went public only added rocket fuel to the theory. Fans didn't need proof, they needed drama, and this delivered. And then came the jaw-dropping claim. A hospital employee in Atlanta allegedly admitted that night to seeing 2 bodies moved in secrecy, one matching Vaughn's description, but without any official paperwork. According to this so-called whistleblower, the dead body report released to the press was actually swapped with another victim from the same incident. Again, unproven. But let's be real, does anyone on the internet actually wait for proof anymore? The juicier the story, the faster it spreads. Proof is optional. Suspense is mandatory. Public reaction went nuclear. TikTok was flooded with fan theories, reaction videos, and breakdowns of Vaughn's lyrics predicting survival. "He told us in the music," one viral creator screamed. Clips of Vaughn rapping about faking out the ops suddenly became gospel, dissected as if he had planned this escape years in advance. And don't even get started on the memes Vaughn spotted at Walmart. Vaughn playing soccer in Brazil. Vaughn as an Uber driver in London. The internet turned tragedy into a circus, but beneath the jokes was a deadly serious question. If he really is alive, who is keeping him safe? One fan account swore they uncovered Vaughn's voice in a new drill track leaked on SoundCloud. Same cadence, same delivery, same signature growl. The account claimed it was too real to be AI-generated, though skeptics pointed out deepfake voices have gotten so good even family members get fooled. Still, for die-hard believers, this was confirmation. Vaughn is not only alive, he's still recording, just underground. The track spread like wildfire before being mysteriously scrubbed off the internet, adding even more fuel to suspicions. Who deleted it? And why? Durk, meanwhile, played it cool, or maybe too cool. In interviews, when asked about Vaughn, he gave short, emotionless responses, sometimes changing the subject abruptly. "That chapter done," he muttered once. A slip fans replayed endlessly as proof he knows more than he admits. If your best friend died, wouldn't you talk about them with raw pain years later? But Durk seemed cold, calculated, almost rehearsed. Critics say it's grief. Conspiracy theorists say it's guilt. The supposed family leak didn't stop there. Another alleged cousin posted cryptic Instagram stories with captions like, "He watching y'all from afar, and you'd be shocked where he at." Screenshots flew across Twitter, each one dissected for hidden meaning. Was this cousin trolling or dropping coded hints? Either way, by now, the family wasn't helping their case. They were either fueling rumors for attention or accidentally confirming the biggest cover-up in recent rap history. What makes this scandal even dirtier is the timing. Durk himself has faced ongoing legal heat cases, accusations, and whispers about federal investigations. If Vaughn is alive, hidden outside the US, could this have been a desperate move to keep him out of custody? Remember, Vaughn had active cases before his death. A fake death could kill multiple birds with one stone: escape the law, escape enemies, and create a martyr legacy worth millions. The perfect street chess move, if true. Of course, the industry is divided. Some insiders laugh it off as pure fan fiction. Others drop vague warnings about not playing with fire and certain names being untouchable. When bloggers pushed too hard, some mysteriously deleted their posts overnight. And isn't that always suspicious? Why delete unless you hit too close to the truth? One blogger even claimed they got a cease and desist letter after publishing evidence that Vaughn was spotted in Honduras. The letter allegedly threatened serious consequences if the story didn't vanish. Guess what? It vanished. Fans online aren't letting go, though. Every time Durk posts a photo, comments flood with "Vaughn alive, stop lying. Bring him back, and we know the truth." The obsession is so intense, it's practically harassment. But that's the internet for you. Give them a whiff of scandal, and they'll chase it until the end of time. Whether it's Tupac in Cuba, Elvis in Vegas, or now Von in South America, the pattern never changes. What changes is how much more believable the lies sound in the AI era, and this is where it turns from entertaining gossip to dangerous rumor. Because if Von really is alive and hiding, someone has been paying to keep him safe. Someone has been funding an international ghost lifestyle. That doesn't happen without serious backing. And if the family slip-up was real, if the financial leaks were even half true, then Durk's empire sits on a ticking time bomb. Fans won't forgive a faked death if proven. Labels won't forgive fraud on that scale. And the government? They'd burn the entire OTF brand to the ground if they thought a fugitive was being sheltered overseas. Which leads us to the ultimate cliffhanger. If King Von is really alive, hidden somewhere outside the US, then who else knows? Who's protecting him? Who's profiting from the lie? And how much longer can this conspiracy stay buried before the truth rips through the industry like a nuclear blast? If the whispers are true, if King Von really is alive outside the US, then this is no longer just a conspiracy theory, it's a potential international crisis. Think about the fallout. First off, the music industry would implode. Every award, every tribute, every single dollar earned off Von's legacy could be called fraud. We're talking lawsuits so massive they'd make the Diddy scandals look like playground fights. Streaming platforms could face class action suits for pushing memorial playlists. Documentaries could get yanked. Even tribute tattoos might feel like bad investments. Fans would feel cheated, not just emotionally but financially. You mourned, you streamed, you spent money only to find out the tragedy was staged. The betrayal would be unforgivable. And let's not forget the law. The US government doesn't exactly laugh at the idea of faking death to dodge charges. Insurance fraud? That alone is prison time. Add in potential racketeering, cross-border smuggling of identity documents, and you've got a RICO-level nightmare. If Durk's family really slipped the truth, they may have unknowingly exposed everyone in Von's circle to federal heat. If the feds weren't watching before, they sure are now, claimed one so-called anonymous prosecutor in a leaked email making rounds on blogs. True or fake, the paranoia it spread was undeniable. Fans online were torn between excitement and rage. Some celebrated. If Von alive, that's the greatest plot twist of all time. Others demanded accountability. We cried, we prayed, we marched for him. How dare you play with us? The emotional chaos was intense. On Twitter, hashtags like #VonLives and #FakeDeathgate trended for days. Memes showed Von laughing at fans from a tropical island, sipping coconuts while the world mourned. The jokes were savage, but behind them was an undercurrent of real fury. Nobody likes feeling like a pawn in a billion-dollar hustle. Meanwhile, rival rappers weren't staying silent. A few dropped bars hinting they knew Von was never gone. Imagine the chaos if your ops are mocking you for hiding the truth. Hip-hop thrives on beef, but this is career-destroying. If Von resurfaces, every diss, every tribute track, every claim of revenge killings in his name suddenly looks fake. Entire street reputations collapse overnight. Gang wars supposedly fought in his memory? Pointless. It's the kind of revelation that could rewrite years of street history, and not everyone wants that. Rewrite. Then came the wildest twist yet. Supposed sightings. Grainy videos popped up on TikTok and YouTube. Von lookalikes in Mexico. Von shopping in Ghana. Von seen at a Dubai nightclub. Some were clearly fake. Others, harder to dismiss. A shaky clip of a man with the same tattoos caused a meltdown. People slowed it down frame by frame, analyzing jawlines, cheekbones, even walking style. It was obsessive. And every time the internet thought they had proof, the video would vanish. Copyright strikes, removals, accounts deleted. If nothing was there, why scrub it so hard? And this brings us to the revenge angle. If Durk's camp really pulled off this stunt, how long before rivals or even betrayed fans seek payback? Street credibility is fragile. You don't survive in that world if people think you faked an entire death for clout and cash. Already, whispers of Von's revenge started trending, meaning if he's alive, he might need protection not from enemies, but from ex-allies who feel betrayed. Imagine the irony. Faking death to escape danger, only to create 10 times more. The streets don't forgive betrayal. Neither does the internet. Industry insiders also hinted at financial cracks. Rumors say certain contracts had death clauses, huge payouts triggered by Von's passing. If he's alive, those clauses were activated under false pretenses. That's fraud at the highest level, multi-million-dollar fraud. Labels would sue to reclaim money. Sponsors would demand refunds. Netflix-style documentaries would face lawsuits for spreading misinformation. The empire built on Von's death could collapse faster than it rose. And in the middle of that storm, Durk, his family, his label, everyone suddenly vulnerable. And let's not forget the government's favorite pastime, investigations. If even a shred of this story is real, federal agencies would circle like vultures. Fake passports? International hiding? Secret bank transfers? That's not just gossip, that's the kind of stuff that lands entire crews in prison. And the cruelest part? If Von is alive but hiding, the very family who tried to leak the truth might have just signed his capture warrant. What began as a flex could end as a manhunt. The scariest part is what this says about us, the audience. We've seen this before. Tupac in Cuba, Biggie living in Jamaica, Michael Jackson dancing in disguise. But Von's case feels different. Why? Because in an era of AI, deepfakes, and endless online manipulation, the line between real and fake is paper thin. We're all so desperate for drama that we believe anything, any screenshot, any anonymous source, any leaked video. And maybe that's the real scandal. Not that Von might be alive, but that we're all complicit in keeping him alive through clicks, shares, and conspiracies. So, here we are, at the edge of the cliff. If King Von is truly alive, hiding outside the US, the fallout won't just be music industry chaos, it'll be cultural chaos. Fans will riot online. Labels will crumble under lawsuits. Street reputations will shatter. And the government? They'll swoop in, leaving no stone unturned. Whether this is the biggest lie or the biggest comeback in rap history, one thing is certain, the truth can't stay buried forever, because secrets this big don't just leak. They explode. And there you have it. Durk's own family dropping a bombshell the world wasn't ready for. King Von. Not 6 feet under, not just a ghost in a song lyric, but allegedly alive, breathing, and hiding far away from the US. If even half of this is true, then what else have we been lied to about? Was the funeral staged? Were the tears fake? Did the rap industry really pull off the greatest disappearing act of our time? Or is this just another layer in the never-ending circus of smoke, mirrors, and betrayal? Think about it. If Von is alive, every interview, every tribute, every so-called insider leak suddenly looks like part of a master script. A script where we, the public, were just the audience, paying tickets with our streams and our attention. And if he really is outside the US, the question gets louder. Who's protecting him, and why? Is this about money, loyalty, or something so dark we can't even say it yet? But here's the part where you come in. What do you think? Has King Von fooled the entire world? Or is Durk's family just spinning another wild tale to keep the spotlight blazing? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't hold back. Because if the truth is hiding out there, the only way it comes to light is if people like you demand answers. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and turn on those notifications, because this saga is far from over, and the next chapter might be even darker than this one. Stay locked in, Because on this channel, we don't just spill the tea, we serve the whole pot, boiling hot.